Welcome everybody to some more Bed Wars. Today we are going to be talking about a subject that I am somewhat equally very much passionate about. I don't know why I had to be all weird like that. Basically, we're going to be talking about the Batman movies because this is something that has been very important in my life as of late. I've been going back. I just had a big spike to watch all the live action Batman movies, and in the true content-esque way of doing so, I don't even know which way I'm supposed to rush. Definitely not leaping into the void like I was just about to do. We're going to be making a video talking about said Batman movies. Now, obviously, there's going to be some criteria that needs to be established. Well, one of the criteria is obviously this has in no way, shape, or form any kind of relation to anything that is going on with Bed Wars or Minecraft or anything of the sort. So obviously it's going to be a little off topic. So if you came for top 10 plays of the week, it's not going to happen. I'm sorry. But more importantly, we're going to be talking about the relevant live action Batman movies. And like I said, live action. So this obviously will not include any animated movies or the Lego one that they did or anything like that. I specifically only watched the live action ones, and I'm not... Okay, I was kind of concerned there. I did not go ahead and watch the one that nobody really cares about, i.e. the, whatever it's called, the Batman v Superman, because I already knew it was going to be at the bottom of the list. I don't need to put myself through that much torture on top of some other movies that I did have to endure, and there was also a Batman movie that I didn't even know existed that was made in like the 40s, but... No one really cares about that movie, so we're just gonna pretend it doesn't exist. But anyways, with all that preliminary stuff out of the way, we can actually go ahead and start talking about the movies. So at the bottom of the ranking of my very incredibly accurate and due diligent, or whatever you want to call it, ranking, this poor guy, I'm sorry, he's shaking his head, and I'm sorry, but in the name of the Batman movies, I have to do it. I had to do it, and I'm sorry. Ooh, and he gave me diamonds. Okay, anyways, going back on topic, at the bottom of the list, to nobody's surprise, and like I basically just said, it's Batman v Superman. I don't know what you expected from me. It's pretty bad. I mean, I don't know if it's, actually better than the one that they made in the 40s that I don't care to see, and the Adam West one that I also didn't really care to see, because those are probably bad. I'll just take other people's word for it. But I mean, like, to nobody's surprise, it's just not good. It reads like a fanfic, it plays like a fanfic, it basically is a fanfic. It's just a whole lot of not good conglomerated mess that I didn't really want to bother enduring, because it's so long and it's so not good, and it's not really even a Batman movie when you actually pay attention to it. So I just decided not to, regard it. I'm really hoping that this guy... What even just happened with the fireballs? His fireball, knocked my fireball away? Hello? Oh, he's freaky. Anyways, moving up in the list, ignore what just happened. To nobody's surprise again, it's Batman and Robin. And the whole reason I put this movie above the previous one is that I think there is some fun to be derived from it. I mean, in some ways, it takes itself serious enough to where it's not like one of those movies where it's like, oh my god, this movie is so, abhorrently awful that you can just watch it and have fun and laugh with how bad it is. Like, Batman and Robin takes itself seriously enough to where that isn't really the case. But even still, if I had a choice between watching Batman and Robin or Batman v Superman, it's very clear which one most people would probably pick, because there is some moments that are just beyond stupid, like this yellow guy that just decided it would be a good idea to leap into the void like he just did. I also don't want to go too in depth, because I most certainly can about some of these movies, but I want to keep it a little surface level, because, well, I don't really want to sound too nerdy about such a topic, although at the same time, maybe that's what drives the views and the content, and I somehow walked past this guy and he didn't hit me or something like that. I don't even know. Anyways, moving on throughout the list, next up is Batman Forever, the other Batman that Joel Schumacher directed, and it's equally, I mean, not equally, I think Batman Robin is way worse of a movie. There were some, really stupid quotables, like how Alfred manages to upload his consciousness into the Bat computer. That was by far the funniest moment of the whole film, because it's just dumb. It doesn't make any sense. He says it no context. He just casually says it like it's just something he knows how to do, and he does this when he's dying from some made-up disease. Like, hello, shouldn't you be more concerned about, I don't know, not dying or something like that, instead of uploading your consciousness into a computer? I don't really want to sound too nerdy about going back to Batman Forever. I think I enjoy it, although enjoy is not really the right word. I think I can tolerate that movie slightly more just because it's, not as horrible. I mean, there is some horrible moments, but it takes itself somewhat seriously enough, or I guess slightly more seriously, even though I really hate Tommy Lee Jones because he's trying to out Jim Carrey, which doesn't seem like. And then Nicole Kidman is also there, and she is like by far the horniest character in all of the whole Gotham City. Like, oh my goodness, it is just very, it's just very like noticeable. Like there's not a single piece of dialogue. Can you not run over to my base, you annoying little Smurf? That's what we're gonna call him because he's blue. Get it? Haha. I make jokes. I do stand-up comedy. That's exactly what you're watching right now. I make some jokes, and they're the best. Anyways, that was the whole obligatory segment of, you know, hating on the not good Batman movies, because I mean they are not good. Like, watching them, they just are not good. Like, they just don't feel good. And I know the approach was like, oh, they're supposed to be campy, they're supposed to be, you know, not the edgy Tim Burton-esque, because that's not what people wanted at the time. They wanted a more campy approach, but in hindsight, it's just not good. I mean, there's more merit to rewatching it than something like Batman v Superman, like I said before, but it's just still, they're just not good movies, man. Like, there's not really a reason to ever watch those movies outside of, you know, some curiosity about what was going down with Batman in the 90s, and that was about it. So moving on to more relevant movies, these are more so the sentient movies. These are movies that are not really good, but they're fine. They're tolerable. You can watch them, but they're just not anything crazy groundbreaking as cinema and as Batman movies. And to start this whole segment off is Batman The Dark Knight Rises. That's not really the title. There's no Batman. It's just called The Dark Knight Rises. I don't know why I added that in there, but it's just like, it's just very, it's hardly even a Batman movie. Like, 90% of the movie is just, oh wow, terrorism, and that's kind of it. And then, like, I mean, it's enjoyable, I guess, but I mean, it's just not a good movie as a Batman movie. And also the twist villain in it was just kind of like, it just kind of happened. Like, I mean, I was surprised, but it wasn't those surprises where it was like, oh my gosh, like, I could have never anticipated this. Like, it was just one of those ones where I was just more so confused, like, why? It just felt like one of those forced twist villains where they just kind of did a twist villain just to have a twist villain for some reason or something like that. And then that brings me to the first movie of that trilogy, aka Batman Begins, which I think is also just a fine movie. I mean, it's good. It does a decent job at, you know, laying the foundations of Batman becoming Bruce Wayne, but in my honest opinion, like, Batman is one of those characters where you don't need to have a like backstory for, because like, most everybody understands the general like concept of like, oh, Bruce Wayne had parents and then he didn't, and then he became Batman. And obviously you can go into the psyche and all of that, like, why does he become Batman, how do you stop becoming like all that stuff. But in my honest opinion, anything about that the movie tries to tackle, it's just done with the movie that follows directly after it. So there's not really a point in watching this movie. And I think the whole villain story, like, it's fine. It's you know, it's kind of surface level to say the least. But those are mostly my thoughts about Batman Begins. Don't worry about the map. I promise I random queued. It just gave me the same map for some reason, which makes sense. This is a good map. But anyways, going back to Batman Begins is fine. You know, it's like a solid, I don't know, I gave it official ranking on my letterbox, to shout out to all the film nerds that know what that is. I think it was like a 3.5, so that's what I can, simple math, that's like a 7, so that's what, like a B tier. I think a B tier is fair, to say the least. That's where I'd rank it. But anyways, now let's get to some cream of the crop goodness, and we are going to start off with a double feature, and this includes, hold on, let's try not to die to this guy, the 2 Tim Burton Batman movies, Batman Returns and Batman 1989, as everybody kind of dubs it as. And the whole reason I've grouped these together is that I think they're both good in their own merits. It just kind of will equally the day you ask me which one is better and which one you want, like, what type of Batman story do you want out of. Do you want more of a simple, kind of sort of linear story from Batman with, you know, kind of sort of straightforward storytelling, or do you want a lot more gritty and dark approach to Batman that you get in Batman Returns, but at the cost of I wouldn't say a coherent story, but more so a fully fleshed out story, because that is one of the biggest flaws with Batman Returns. I love the setting, the gothic architecture and everything regarding Gotham and the atmosphere of those movies is just so incredibly perfect, more so in Batman Returns. Like, it is without a doubt my headcanon like go-to depiction of Gotham City. It's just very gritty and overrun and grimy and gross, and just has a lot of things. Oh my gosh, it has a lot of things going wrong with it. There's lots of crime, there's lots of dirty sewage, there's lots of, like, it just looks like a very uninhabitable place, but it's just, I don't know, it just works out very well for it. But you get more of that in the second movie, like I just said. But if you want a more coherent story, and obviously that Jack Nicholson Joker, which is honestly very, very good, obligatory, oh, it's not as good as Heath Ledger's, but it's a different approach on the character. And I think that's something that's very important when understanding like Jokers as a whole, is that obviously they're not going to be the Heath Ledger Joker, but the whole reason that they're not is because they're not trying to be. They're different approaches on the character, some well more established and good than others. Case in point, the Jared Leto one. That one's just terrible. There's not really a defense for that one. But anyways, those are the Tim Burton movies. Like I said, you know, coin flip which one I prefer more. I think at the moment I would maybe prefer the original Batman, just because of the, you know, more cohesive and coherent, I guess, story, even though those words mean the same thing basically. Like, I just think the story just kind of is replaced by aesthetic and being all gothic and gritty. And while I do enjoy that from Batman Returns, it is enjoyable to have a, you know, good story, a coherent story to say the least. Oh, that guy almost walked off on his own. Yes, I did it, PvP legend. And now it is time to get into some peak, and the peak is going to start off with, drum roll, it's the Batman. I mean, it's kind of unsurprising, and honestly, like, yeah, I know it's so overrated to say that the Dark Knight is the best one, but hear me out on this one, right? So I think the Batman has its very, very good merits. I think the issue with it is that it just feels very, like, surface level. One, the villain, I think, while good, is just a little weak. Like, he just kind of hires, and I don't know if this is a spoiler or not, but the movie has equally been a thing for the past 2 years, so if you haven't seen it, that's kind of your fault. But anyways, the whole, like, you know, climax of the movie is just how he's like, hey guys, my social media followers, go attack Batman, and that's the big climax. And like, while it's decent, I guess, it's just not really, it's not very Riddler-esque. But like I said, I think it's good. I mean, the atmosphere is there, which is a pretty good thing, but for the most part, it just kind of falls flat in some aspects. I think Robert Pattinson does a pretty... You deflected all my fireballs? Are you serious? Bruh, you gotta be joshing me. You gotta be telling those... No one saw that. No one saw that. And anyways, closing thoughts on the Batman. Like I said, it's well acted. I think Robert Pattinson is reaching a bit too much in the edginess department. Like, I feel like he's trying a bit too hard. And while the atmosphere is certainly there to, like, coincide with that kind of, like, oh, I'm so edgy, I'm so dark, and so moody and all that type of stuff. The atmosphere is certainly there. Like, it is hardly ever sunshine. It was, like, always overcast, I remember, in the daytime scenes. It's enjoyable to say the least. But anyways, let's move on to everybody's no surprise subject, The Dark Knight. And obviously, while it's a little bit of an overrated pick, like, oh wow, The Dark Knight is the best Batman movie live action, who would have thunk it, who could have seen that one coming? I certainly did it. And like I said, while I think it's a little bit overrated in saying that it is the best Batman, please don't do this to me. You have a KB stick. That is just all kinds of disrespectful to everything I believe in. While I do genuinely think it is a bit of an overrated statement to say that, there's a variety of factors as to why I say that. I mean, obviously, it goes without saying, Heath Ledger does a phenomenal job for, you know, performance of the Joker, and well-deserved that posthumous Best Supporting Actor Oscar that he got for The Dark Knight Rises. Very well-deserved. I mean, obviously, like I said, goes without saying. But beyond that, just the story, the writing, the... I wouldn't say like meta references, but like, you know, just simply beyond the movie storytelling, rather than just having a simple surface level storytelling, there is some real world application into the human psyche and being a villain and corruption and all that type of stuff. And like I was saying with Batman Begins, like anything that like Batman Begins tries to do, like going into the psyche of Batman and him being a vigilante, or like being kind of an outsider and all that type of stuff, and the dynamic of corruption regarding, you know, people and the mob and all that type of stuff. It's just all done way better in The Dark Knight Rises. Like anything that the previous movies or the movie that came after it, like The Dark Knight Rises, it tries to do, it just does it way more, and it's just a great movie. What can I say? But the whole reason as to why I say what I say, that they're not going to make any more like that, is just a whole variety of things regarding contemporary audiences, like just how kind of, I wouldn't say fish-brained, but for lack of a better term, fish-brained most like superhero fanatics kind of are. Like most people, when they want to see a superhero movie, it's just gotten to the point where it's just kind of like the turn off your brain and enjoy it movie. There's not anything really meaningful or impactful as like cinema as an art form and Batman movies as a whole. It just, they all feel, I mean, this is obviously just superheroes as a whole, but like it just feels very bare bones, very nothing, very just like surface level. Like, hey guys, we're making a new Avengers movie. Guess what? It's going to have Robert Downey in it. We're going to give him $75 million just to get Robert Downey in it because you guys like the Robert Downey, right? But anyways, those are my closing thoughts on the matter, and hopefully this video is not going to be too long because this raw recording has been like 40 minutes, and I'm really hoping that the video is not 40 minutes long. Go, yes, no, you, any teabags, you doer of deeds. So that was my ranking of all the live-action Batman movies. If you enjoyed this completely off-topic and random video, honestly, considering the type of demographic that I guess I appeal to, i.e. Minecraft players, then you could leave a like and subscribe. And if everybody really enjoyed this video, then I don't know, maybe we'll do more movie ranking videos. But for right now, this was just like a one-off thing. I hope you enjoyed it. Try something different. You know, it was content. Maybe it wasn't. I don't know. But anyways, I'm going to cry myself to sleep because I hate Bed Wars because it is terrible. And yep, that's the end of the video. That's what we're ending it on. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.